To Europe now, where EU leaders are in Brussels for a two-day meeting. The 28 leaders are expected to focus on security after recent terror attacks. But also high on the agenda is Brexit. British Prime Minister Theresa May is likely to address her counterparts on the rights of EU citizens in the UK, while European Commission President Donald Tusk is hoping for something of a Brexit turnaround.
Some of my British friends have even asked me whether Brexit could be reversed and whether I could imagine an outcome where the UK stays part of the EU. I told them that, in fact, the European Union was built on dreams that seemed impossible to achieve. So, who knows? You may say, I am a dreamer, but I am not the only one.
TRT World's Kim Vinnell has been following developments out of that meeting in Brussels and joins me now. Kim, I suppose we should all be thankful he didn't break into song right there. But is that a sign, do you think, that the EU might be softening its stance towards Britain?
Well, interestingly, Tusk just gave a joint press conference with EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, and the media asked Juncker whether he agrees with Tusk's comments, an indication perhaps of asking the UK to do a turnaround with Brexit. And Juncker responded by saying, "In Europe, I have no illusions because I don't want them to be shattered." So perhaps that gives you some idea of where they're at. German Chancellor Angela Merkel also coming out today and saying that the future of the 27, that's the number of member states that will be left in the European Union, has priority over negotiations with the UK on its exit. Donald Tusk, in a letter opening this two-day summit, sort of summed it up. He said this is all happening in a different political context than when anti-EU forces were on the rise a few months ago. He said that the EU is now seen as part of the solution, not as part of the problem. So I guess you could say the EU is feels like it's in a fairly strong position going into these negotiations and discussions with UK Prime Minister Theresa May, which will happen at a working dinner this evening.
Now, one of the sticking points, of course, is going to be this massive bill that the UK could likely receive from the EU for leaving the European Union. What are the latest estimates from what you're hearing over there as to how big that bill might be?
Well, just to put this into some context for people who might not be au fait with the exit bill. The exit bill is essentially like the UK having to pay off kind of an overdraft, that it's really got to meet its existing financial obligations. The UK is a huge contributor to EU coffers. So before it leaves, or when it leaves, the EU is asking the UK to meet its EU budget items. That's things like infrastructure, long-term obligations, that's things like pension promises, and also contingent liabilities. There have been various estimates about how much this could be, anywhere from $45 to $100 billion. That's a whole lot of money. The sticking point here is that the UK feels it has no legal obligation to pay an exit bill. It's kind of like if the EU were a golf club and you leave the golf club, why would you continue having to pay membership fees? Also, there's no real detail about an exit bill in Article 50 of the Treaty of the European Union, which is, of course, the article that sets out how a member can leave the European Union. It's only 5 paragraphs long, and it doesn't have any detail about financial settlements in this instance.
Much more to come on the Brexit talks, though. Kim Vinnell, thank you very much indeed in Brussels there.